Hey, we're here at Konami's press event in San Francisco, and we're talking to William Mortel, who's producer on Silent Hill Origins. We have seen bits and pieces of Silent Hill Origins since E3, but today you guys are doing something a little special for the event, right?
Yep. Today we had the first ever viewing of a build, the playable of the game. Um, and that comes with a little bit of a, you have to put some caveats in there. In that, what we're showing is very early. But we really wanted to. When we first announced that the game was coming out to the PSP, people were concerned about, okay, how are you going to do this? Is this going to work on the PSP? So wanted to show a build that would convey, the environments, the graphics, the atmosphere, as well as the overall camera perspective. But given that, I mean, what you've seen right now, a lot of stuff is temporary. The animations need tuning and tweaking. On the filters need to go on what you see. The whole heads-up display or the user interface is all temporary. The control scheme is temporary. The special effects are certainly not finished. So there's still a lot of work that goes into finishing and working with this. But at the very least, people get a very good idea as to, okay, what's this game going to look like, for the most part, and what's going to be my perspective when I'm playing this game. And I think, based on what I've heard, people like it.
And one of the cool things about the game is it is a prequel, and today's levels we got to see a little bit of good old familiar Silent Hill, right?
Yep. Silent Hill, the town, is kind of the hub of what the game is going to be, and what we showed today was a small part of that, about 1/6 of the town. And so of that whole town, 1/3 is old Silent Hill and 2/3 is new Silent Hill. But we also have the Orpheum Theater from the movie in there, and so players will be able to navigate the town and find out what they got to do next to go into, like, let's say, an interior level, like either the theater or the asylum or Alchemilla Hospital.
Nice. And, one of the big things in Silent Hill has always been these crazy creatures that are roaming the town, causing trouble for you, and the items you use to kill them. So what can you tell us about the monsters and the weapons in the game?
Okay, well, on the weapons themselves, we have 6 weapons, 3 melee and 3 ranged weapons. The melee weapons are the sledgehammer that you see in the build, and it's really good for clearing out like a lot of enemies that are around you. We also have a tire iron, befitting of a kind of a truck driver, and a shovel. On the ranged weapons, we have a 9mm pistol, a 44 Magnum, and a shotgun. One thing I wanted to make sure mentioned, that in this build, you'll see like almost like this red laser sight on the pistol, and that is definitely a temporary effect. That's we still have to decide exactly how we're going to set the aiming for people, for people when they're playing the game. Right now, our thoughts probably related to the flashlight, but a laser sight, people see it, don't want them to freak out and think it's like some sort of Terminator truck driver or something like that. When we say Silent Hill Origins, we're not necessarily referring to explaining everything like the origins of Silent Hill in a very literal sense. It's we're taking some liberties with that. It's like, okay, it is a prequel, so in a way, okay, it is the beginning, so that in its sense is an origins. But Travis is not necessarily this character that explains everything that you have. He's a cause of what happened in 1 and 2 and 3 or whatever. I mean, he is a character. He plays a part in it. But as you go through the story, you realize that part perhaps isn't as as large as you thought. It's he is the method by which people will see what happened. How the town became the way it is. But he's not necessarily the cause. He's not like Dahlia's lover or I shouldn't say that, but he isn't, or some sort of love child or or a father of some sort. It's but he does play a part of the story.
And then, as far as the size of the quest and what you're going to be doing, what are you guys doing on the PSP? Is it going to be comparable to the console versions of the game, or is it going to be smaller, bigger?
Probably a little bit smaller, but still, good size for a PSP game. Like I mentioned before, the town will serve as kind of like the hub that players will go, and in the beginning, it'll be a little confusing. It's like you come to this town and you're thinking, what do I do now? And there'll be clues to help guide you into what you have to do next, and that'll become clearer and clearer as you go through the game and you investigate these other areas until at the end it becomes fairly kind of just channeled in terms of what you have to do. Um, but it's going to be a good sized game. I mean, we know that past one of the challenges was people were thinking this game is going to be a lot smaller than than previous games, and so we knew we had to make a a good sized PSP game, and hopefully that's what we're doing. This is a game that, like, on all levels, it has to be high quality, has to be big, it's got to be fun, it's got to be atmospheric, and it has to match what the previous games did. And it's like, wow, try to succeed on all points. It's it's hard.
And so, for fans of the series, you guys have some cool news that you talked about today in terms of music for the game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you hear one of those, one of the new songs in the trailer that we have that we showed today. Akira, of course, we mentioned in the past, is doing all the music for it, and he's done with it. And so we have 14 tracks, 4 of which are vocal tracks and one of which you heard today, which is a really good song. I really like it.
Cool. And so, when can we look for more on the game, and when's it coming out?
Well, you can look for more later, and as to when it will come out, Q1 of next year.
All right. Well, that's it for Silent Hill Origins. Check back on GameSpot for more on the game in the coming months.